Admittedly, this one is a little bit harder for me on a personal level. You see, because years ago, back in the day, Ryan Reynolds used to come into a restaurant I was at, and he was amazing. I took care of him for years. He even brought in Balake when they first started dating. I even chased the paparazzi down the street one night when he and Scarlett Johansson came back into the restaurant after they had already split, gotten a divorce. It was a mess. Once upon a time, people would ask, who was the nicest or the coolest celebrity? And without hesitation, I said, Ryan Reynolds. He's sweet. He looks you in the eye, asks your name, calls you by name. Always lovely, always polite. Very much his image, his brand. Tips 60, 70% or higher if he knows you. Amazing. So, a little bit heartbroken when I found out, wow, he got me. I was deceived. And so it goes in the show. In the previous episode, we talked about Taylor Swift and her involvement with these people in this Hollywood scandal. But, of course, she is not the only one at the tip top of the A-list that is involved in all of this deception and manipulation. There is, of course, Deadpool himself. So we move on to Mr. Ryan Reynolds. There's all kinds of messages between Reynolds and various industry people, and he is going on and on and on in just absolute word salad. It's like Ben Wilder on coke. It's just on, and he's glazing. So much so, it's to a point of a term that we use often in romantic relationships, but it's not limited to romantic. It can occur in any relationship. It's a term that's been catching a lot of fire online in the last couple of years, which is love bombing. It's a classic case of love bombing. You can see in his emails, in these writings that he's putting out to all of these people who he ultimately wants something from. He does this huge build-up where he's just glazing them, congratulating them, telling them nice, airy, lovely things about them or their work or their success and what's going on. He's puffing them up. And it's so over the top. It's ridiculously Hollywood. And I do not believe for a second that any of these people, especially Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, didn't see through this entire charade. In fact, I know they didn't, because everyone in the town knows what the show is. And we'll get to that later, of course. And so that brings me to the question that I have. And it's not being asked right now. It has been asked before, and it's been thrown around by different people. But the question that I have within all of this craziness is, what happened on that set between Blake and Justin? And what was actually said about it to the people, specifically in her circle? Has all of this been one grand setup from the very beginning, like it's being thought and spoken about in social media? Did they all know? Were they all in on it? They all joined together and spoke behind the scenes to fool not only this man, this production company, but Sony, other celebrities, the entire public. Was this all one grand scheme to take over this would-be franchise? Or are Ryan and Taylor getting played? See, because before, in leading up to things, everything was not just cordial. It was friendly. It was extra friendly. The texts were over the top sometimes, and how nice we're being. Even, Ryan did a full love bombing type message to Justin after Justin reached out and sent a courtesy, hey, thanks for letting me do this creative act with your wife, etc., etc. Things were really friendly, bordering, on the line of flirty, too flirty. So what happened? Did she make an advance? Did she try something? And he neglected. He turned down. And all of this is hell's fury of the woman scorned. Did that not happen? And she really did think that he was a doofus and, oh my gosh, this guy, he was kind of a goofball at first, but now, like, I don't like what he's doing with this movie creatively, and this was going to be my baby. And then it turned into much more. Did Ryan start coming to set and start seeing, like, you guys are awful, getting a little close here, a little too close to comfort.
Damn, they got a vibe.
Because people attested there was a screaming match. Him screaming, them, the two of them in the trailer, and he stormed out one day. What happened? Did he find out something? And then she, in an effort to fix the situation with Ryan, she went all the way with it. He's not going to believe me unless I talk about SH or SA. What happened? Because the way Ryan is going full throttle and pushing the predator narrative and talking repeatedly about this guy is a bad guy. It's not just he's a clown or he's a doofus or he's an idiot. Ryan's the biggest clown in that town. Come on. I don't mean that in a negative way. He's made a lot of money being #1 clown. I know they mean it in a negative way, but whatever. He's not going to get that mad over a guy who's just doesn't know what he's doing. That happens. He even says that in the text message. We all don't have creative differences, and we shrug and go on. But no, he keeps pressing into this guy because he's a bad guy. Is it because they want the movie and he's trying to help his wife and he's just fully committed to it and he's going to go down with the ship if that's what it takes? Or is he being a protective husband thinking that this man violated my forever? Taylor, same thing. She doesn't know this guy. Don't know anything about him. All she knows is what's coming from. This is her friend's situation, and she's just stepping in for a friend. Is that why Taylor distanced herself? It wasn't just like, oh, you got some bad press coming, so I can't be a part of that. I'm TS here. Or was it, hey, like, what actually went down with you two? Because you told something, but I'm seeing all the stuff that's coming out, and like, Taylor was a witness to that, the same as all of us were. When she first dropped it, everyone was Team Balake. And then Baldoni brought the receipts, and everything changed. And Balake kept saying, I'm coming with the fire, with the smoking gun. And her smoking gun turned out to be a nothing whopper. And that's been all she's wrote for her ever since. It's all just been back and forth. So the question for me is what happened on that set? And what was the deception that was put into play after the event? Now, do I think that we're going to get that? No, I know we're not. Why? Because I know how the show works. And even this trial is part of the show. Just like Depp v. Heard and all this other nonsense, it's all part of the show. So we can distract you with nonsense over here while the real stories are happening under the current of popular opinion. In August of 2024, shortly after the premiere of the film, when all of the hullabaloo was going on regarding Blake and her disastrous interviews, the viral interview with Justin Flaw, who now runs the YouTube channel of Flawsome Talk, which is great for this information, when all of it was going down, all the bad press is coming in, the president of Sony Pictures Entertainment Motion Picture Group says, quote, if she just let him come to the premiere, or didn't make all the cast unfollow him, or kick him off the movie, and did what everyone ever has done in show business for time immemorial, which is protect the show, then none of the sleuthing would have happened. End quote. And there's minor quotations around the show. If she had just done what everyone has always done, time immemorial, in show business, which is the cardinal rule #1. Always, 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 no matter the circumstances, always protect the show. Because the show must go on. And that's what I'm bringing up about the show. The show. This is what is happening. Remember, my entire kind of thesis behind this series, Cat Williams coming out saying, the truth is starting to come out. In Mass Awakening, the truth will start to come out as all of the lies will be impressed upon and brought to the top from the unconscious to the collective and global conscious. We're seeing it here, the way we're seeing it in Washington, in different parts of the world, Israel, Russia, Ukraine. The lies going to be coming out. And here, we have a man on top, an executive, saying, why couldn't she just do what she knows to do, which is to fall in line? Get in line. You protect the show first. Whether it's a country, whether it's an industry, you protect the show. What's the show? The show is Hollywood itself. It's the glitz, it's the glamour, it's these people are stars that should be worshipped, that should be idolized and listened to, that should be pedestalized. When the reality is that most of these people have the inner morality of a garden variety criminal. Facts. That's why we see them pop up behind bars so often. Many of them belong there. I always get a kick out of people when they come and visit Los Angeles, and they often don't know much about this city itself, and they want to go to Hollywood or see Hollywood, which I tell them, go ahead, I'm not taking you. Why? Because to everyone else in the world, it's the glitz, it's the glamour, it's the red carpet, it's the silver screen, it's the statues, it's the stars, dreams, boulevard of where dreams come true. But any Angelino that actually lives in Los Angeles knows that Hollywood is just the shitty neighborhood that I drive around and avoid when I'm trying to get to the west side or to the east side. That's it. Why? And no offense to people that live in Hollywood. I've lived there before. I'm not trying to throw shade. Just saying that most people don't know that the streets are dirty, full of crime, drugs, that when they set up the red carpet events and the stars are walking and so forth and so on, that all of that is secluded. It's gated off. It's all enclosed, and everything is dressed and styled up to fool you for the show. So that you don't know on the other side of the fence, there's a man laying on the ground with a needle by his leg. And he's passed out, and half his clothes are hanging off. They don't want you to know that there's a group of kids over here on the other side that haven't eaten in weeks. While there's more money inside the circle than anyone could possibly begin to fathom altogether. But on the outside of the circle, there's a neighborhood in shambles. Drugs, poverty, unlike anything seen in most areas of the country. It's the show. It's what keeps you coming back and sitting in the seats and paying to see DEADPOOL and whatever nonsense he's running around doing, making fun of an innocent man that he's trying to ruin the life of. It's a spiritual man. And those that are not of the spirit, those that are not of the goodness, they can't stand the light. The darkness can't stand the light because the light comes in and reminds the darkness that it's dark. So they will take it out, or they'll try. And the way they'll do it is deception, manipulation, and you're seeing it play out here. For this, I'm going to kick it over to Donna at Daily Dose of Donna. She has a fun little podcast that covers pop culture and true crime, and she does a great job with not only this entire case, but she goes back. She dips into this exact aspect that we're talking about. What happened at the beginning when things were nice and lovey-dovey and chummy, now that we have some unsealed text. So let's listen to Donna and give her a follow if you want to. Check it out.
One of the craziest things that I figured out about this Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, and the unsealing of all her private text messages that were part of discovery for this case, because, you know, this is on her. She is actually suing Justin Baldoni. So this is part of the deal. I find this to be the craziest part. When you go back to see the amended complaint from Justin Baldoni that he released back in January or February of 2025 with all of his side of the story, with all of the text messages and emails and etc. that he got from Blake Lively, and you match them up with now seeing what she was saying to her girlfriends behind the scenes on those same days, it's actually diabolical. Here's an example. A few weeks into filming, on May 23rd, 2023, Blake Lively was still speaking kindly and lovely to Justin Baldoni. Here's an example. Justin Baldoni says, "I'm not going to tell you that you were amazing because you teased me for being so sentimental, but you were amazing today." This is her director and co-star sending her a nice text at the end of shooting. Okay? She responds, "Thank you. I do appreciate it. I'm just a ball buster, but it means a lot to me. I care a great deal and always want to deliver. You were terrific. I'm proud of everything we did today, but really every day." And he loves that and says, "Thank you." Seems really kind. If you're Justin Baldoni at this point, you have absolutely no idea that behind the scenes, your co-star and your collaborator and your friend is scheming to take you down behind the scenes. Because look what she writes to Justin Baldoni's co-host of his podcast and friend Liz Plank. Same day, same. This is obviously a little bit harder to see, but she says she's complaining. She's writing to Liz Plank about how miserable she is on set and how she really wishes she had Liz there because Liz would keep them in check. And she says, keep your hormones to yourself. This is not mine. I don't want it. I don't want your gaze or your words or your tongue or videos of your naked wife. It's shocking, she says. Clowns. And then she wraps up the text by saying they're clowns and actual dummies. I don't know how their asses haven't been handed to them either. This woman was playing Justin Baldoni from the very beginning. Not just she was, but Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were playing Justin Baldoni by coming in with the love bombing, being so kind, so complimentary, and so just all up his ass. Okay? And then in the meantime, they were seeding what a disgusting, awful human being he was, and never, ever, ever sharing any of it with him. It is so diabolical. It's actually, the more I look into Ryan and Blake, it's like two psychos walk onto a movie set and completely ruin everything. More to come.
Friends like these, huh? From the very beginning, all of it was according to her own scandalous plan to overtake this from the very beginning. Deception, manipulation, poison turned the cast against him over time. And she uses these deceptive and manipulative tactics because she has learned what myself and many other people in the mental health field know, which is consistent repetition, a little bit at a time. What does that do? Reprograms. It's the basis of hypnosis. Who else knows this? Hollywood executives that want someone to fall in line because they have to keep the show running. Where did they learn that? I'm not going to get into it here some other time, but have a look into the CIA and their involvement in the setting up and burgeoning of Hollywood and propaganda and manipulation at large. The show. The show must go on. Why? Well, for Blake, it's of course the far reaches of the ego, which a lot of people refer to as narcissism. Status. Money. Ego. But what is the show, ultimately? Deception. Manipulation. Sleight of hand. We're going to show you that the stars are burning brightly, so you won't notice that the world around you is burning down. The world is in chaos. We know that Hollywood and DC mirror one another because most of the people that are in both of those, well, I don't want to say that. There's a lot of good people in that industry, and certainly in the city that I love. I'm just saying both places, both industries, that's what I'm talking about, the industry, have snakes in the garden. So, deception, manipulation, drug of choice of two different industries that make their entire living on making sure you enjoy the show. Well, it's 2026 now. Show's over. We're waking up. And now, a different show must take place. Time for celebrity worship. The time for not questioning DC and what comes out of there. The time for just laying down and going on with life. It's over. Perhaps it never should have been. I'm not going to go on a political rant, don't worry. But time is up. The liars. The fake showmen. The frauds. Deception and manipulation do not belong here. Not, people that should be basing their entire existence and lives around truth and love and justice for all. I'm Aaron Justice. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time, enjoy the show.